New at 10, an ousted MMSD middle school principal will get his job back. This is after the school board unanimously voted to reinstate him tonight. NBC 15's Elizabeth Watt is joining us now with how we got here. Elizabeth?
Yeah, Maria, a number of Sennett Middle School teachers are celebrating tonight now that Dr. Jeffrey Copeland has his job back. Dr. Copeland, he was fired by the district after being on the job for less than a month for comments he made about a potential teacher hire that got recorded. But tonight, in a special closed session, the MMSD school board voted to override that decision. In a statement, the MMSD school board calls the decision they made incredibly challenging and, quote, after a thorough review of this matter, we believe this decision acknowledged all voices, respected the grievance process, and acknowledged the seriousness of the incident. Now, since Dr. Copeland was let go, teachers have been very vocal about their support for him, saying he made students and staff feel safe and created an environment that put learning at the forefront. I talked with a Sennett Middle School teacher tonight who can't wait for Dr. Copeland to get back to work, but is also asking administrators to be more open with staff about decision-making in the future.
And this has been one of the most long, drawn-out, non-transparent processes that I've experienced in my 25 years in the district. And so to have him come walk back in the building, I can almost picture staff lining the hallways and having banners and blowing little kazoos or something. But, it'll be business as usual. I think that's how we're all going to feel.
So Dr. Copeland will face some disciplinary actions from the board. He'll have a 3-week unpaid suspension, a written reprimand, and he has to participate in professional development courses. I talked with the school board president tonight, and she wasn't able to confirm when Dr. Copeland's first day back at Sennett will be. Live in the studio, Elizabeth Wattis, NBC 15.